or even if you say not right now, because a lot of people really struggle with no, don't they? But just saying not right now puts that, it might just kick it down the road, but it can kick it down the road until a point when you are feeling more confident in your response as to why it's a no, or who else can help, or what other solutions can you think of. And like you said earlier, when you do something, the first time is always so much harder because the world doesn't end, even though you think it might do. So then the next time is like, okay, I didn't enjoy it. I maybe won't enjoy it this time, but at least I know the world won't end.
Exactly. And that kind of, it builds momentum, doesn't it? We hold a lot of stories in our heads about what others expect of us, or what we need to meet. And, you know, I come from the world of finance and accounting, and we had deadlines. And, you know, that was the other thing when I worked to a deadline like that. A deadline was a deadline, end of. And, you know, yeah, but that was the exception. I couldn't carry out working like that all the time. And you often had to put in extra hours at deadlines. And it's not about being so rigid with your boundaries that you cannot meet kind of when deadlines are necessary, or if there is an emergency or whatever. But it's about recognizing what really needs you to stay late, or blah, blah, blah. But one of the things I talk to somebody about quite often is they'll send an email, or they'll receive an email, and they will want to respond immediately. And, you know, it's kind of like, you know, I just got an email, I have to send a response. And my question, like, does the response need to be immediate? Was there a request for it to be immediate? Because actually you kind of create a stick for your own back by replying to things immediately. Because then everybody has an expectation, oh, I'll just send an email to so-and-so because I'll hear from them immediately. It's kind of like that thing that they say, if you want something done, ask the busiest person in the room, you know.
Another thing. And it's that funny bit, isn't it? Because you'll do that response immediately. And I've been guilty of that, definitely. And you send it back, and then they sit on it for 2 days. And then you get really resentful because you're like, well, I did that at 8 o'clock at night. It's like, well, whose fault is that? It's like,
exactly. That is exactly it.
And they go, well, I didn't expect you to respond at 8 o'clock at night. Well, why did you send it?
But I'm the type of person who doesn't respond to things immediately.
No.
Yes. Because I don't like to set up that expectation. But also I have a kind of an outline for my day. So I'm going to do emails on my terms, not on yours. And but you can also make yourself feel a bit sick if you don't reply. If you've built that up, you know, that will stress you, and the other person won't even care. They'll have turned off their computer, gone to the beach, whatever.
I remember many years ago being on holiday, and it's one of the first holidays we had abroad with Tom when he was little. And I remember I was working in recruitment at that time, and I'd gone back to frontline recruitment. And I took my phone on holiday with me. And the deal was it would stay in the safe during the day, and I was allowed to check it at the end of the day. By day 2, when Tom was having his lunch inside, I would go and check at lunchtime. And all that happened, and what would happen was I would feel sick about what was happening and convinced that something awful was going to happen. And funnily enough, it didn't. They coped without me. And then I think that then sends off this whole thing of like, well, they don't need me then. But actually now it's like, well, that's good that they didn't need you. You're doing your job properly if they don't need you. But it is that bit of, I know I shouldn't do this. And I've agreed with myself and with my husband that I will not check this. But when he's reading a book and my son's having his lunch, I'm going to sneak
in. Did you get caught?
Get what?
Did you get caught?
No, I'm too good. Probably will now.
But did you stop yourself, or did you keep it up for the whole time?
I don't think I did it every day. But what was really funny was the days that I didn't, by the time I could check it, even though I had no evidence that there was going to be anything to deal with, the anxiety for me just ramped up through the afternoon. And I think with hindsight is that I clearly had other issues around the role that I was doing and things like that, and that just came out.
Well, that just like, it sounds like stress as well. And I suppose that's the thing, when you're stressed, it's very hard to maintain a boundary as well anyway, isn't it? And it's the hamster wheel kind of thing, isn't it? And if you stop, you might feel you're in a fall off, as opposed to just, relax.
Yeah, it's awful. And it's funny, I'm a lot better now. I have a separate phone for work. So even though, I'm now self-employed, but I have two phones. And one phone stays upstairs when I'm done for the day. And that can be, whatever time it is. Or if I go out sometimes I'll take the dog out for a walk in the afternoon if I've got calls or what have you later on. But I will leave it at home because that's the time, that I need to make sure that I'm recharged, because I want to be able to deliver the best of me. And I can't do that if I'm constantly, like you say, reacting to everything. And I think that's, like you said there, having that schedule for your day that works for you, and having a point where, okay, I will look and I will respond to emails at this time and this time in the day. And if it's urgent, they'll phone me. Or it's just me phoning to leave you a message.
And it's funny because this week I've had people contact me like within a half an hour of sending me an email because they didn't hear back from me. Two separate individuals. It's really interesting. And, I was thinking, well, these are your questions and neither of them were particularly urgent. But it was very interesting how when they didn't get the response one way, they went for another mode of communication, and it still didn't work. But, because my time, well, I also have my phone on silent, I take it off silent when I'm free, or whatever.
I forget. That's the biggest I forget to take it off.
Sometimes I forget as well, which is fine. But I suppose it's my day, and I'm going to do it my way. When I left one job, actually, that was the song they sang for me, that Frank Sinatra. She did it her way, because I do things my way. But you learn, and if you can learn that and learn to stand up for yourself, and it's not that you're not committed, it's that you want to be able to do your best. Like you said, you want to be able to be your full self.